Well, we're traditionally more of a physical design product company. We really wanted to take our creativity and just explore and experiment and see what could come out of creating a digital space. What are the current pain points in the physical product development world right now that may be able to be carried into the blockchain/virtual world?
Hey everyone, Mike and John here. As you may have already seen in a recent announcement, we're currently beta testing our Meta Studio.
Having a metaverse office comes with so many possibilities for us at Hatch Duo. One of those is the incorporation and understanding of NFTs.
NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are pieces of one-of-a-kind digital content that uses blockchain technology to establish ownership.
In other words, this means that content is unique and irreplaceable. NFTs indicate ownership of all digital assets, bring proof of authenticity, and become part of the public record. We don't claim to know everything there is to know about NFTs. We're definitely interested in them, mainly because I think there's going to be an impact on how we do business and how we eventually help our clients launch their product ideas, and we can get into that in a little bit. But ultimately, I think the blockchain technology and NFTs in particular have a direct correlation to how things are just moving more digitally, and so us as creatives are trying to figure out ways where we can participate in that new world.
Right, so what does this mean for businesses, or more specifically product development? How can we leverage the use of NFTs and increase value to our design process?
And secondly, if we integrate aspects from the virtual world to what we do in the real world, how will this be beneficial to our clients? Is working in a virtual studio positive or negative? We don't know. These are just questions we want to ask. We obviously have, a bias to that because we have been kind of a remote virtual company to begin with, but really analyzing that and how NFTs may play a role in this service process of industrial design. So a couple things I think in terms of how NFTs can play a role in industrial design is you now have proof of work for unique designs, right? I think there's always a lot of talk about original designs, whose idea came first. If you look at Samsung versus Apple in terms of like IP, who had that IP first? And there's a lot of legal battles going on, around paperwork IP, kind of the traditional sense. Now, with blockchain technology and with NFTs, you now have the ability to mint and have, a ledger timestamp on when the original idea was created. So for instance, if we wanted to create an original design smartphone and, someone else later did something similar, you could point back to the NFT token that we created that was attached to that particular design and prove that we designed that first. So I think in some sense, in terms of intellectual property, in terms of proof of design and process first, that could be how design process could be tokenized. And then second, I think you can start to tokenize your design work. What otherwise would be parts of the design process like sketches, throwaway CAD, some of the research that is kind of just leading up to the final outcome, the pretty buttoned up product that you see at the very end of the process. What if you're able to then tokenize some of that and put value to some of that pre-work? I think there's some interesting ideas around how value creation can be almost like minted at the process level in a sense. A lot of the brands, specifically like brands with cult followings, could create collectibles out of some of that work. So for instance, when we're looking at Star Wars, we're really into the concept art. People collect that concept art sometimes, right? For film. And some of these scenes and some of this concept art is not, the actual final Darth Vader suit design or the final Kylo Ren design or lightsaber designs, but people buy and collect these things. And so maybe over time, we don't know. I mean, this is just hypothetical. Clients may find value in tokenizing and assigning value to some of these process concepts that were made in order to produce the final design. And in doing so, I think you're now able to put monetary value, digital monetary value, to something that otherwise would have just been hidden and used for a means to an end, but then kind of discarded afterwards. Another thing I can see also in terms of just service industries in general, whether it's industrial design, graphic design, UI design, is you can tokenize access. a lot of times you don't know for sure if a design is ready for design for manufacturing, and there's this back and forth a lot of times. We've even experienced this ourselves, where we hear from prospective clients like, yeah, they thought they had a design, they went to manufacturing and realized it wasn't ready for manufacturing. They had to do a lot of pre-work to kind of do design for manufacturing, design for assembly. Now, what if there was a way where you could tokenize and almost standardize a seal of approval, in a sense, where that if you did work with Hatch-Duo and the client received a token afterwards, that token would utility-wise represent that the design was in a CAD state that was ready for manufacturing, for instance. So like all the plastic parts were designed for tooling, etc. Then they could bring that token to then access a specific group of partners or manufacturers that were partnered with Hatch-Duo, for instance, that would recognize this token as a utility that now we can, we already have vetted that, they work with Hatch-Duo to a certain extent, and we know that the file is ready to go. That would cut down and streamline so much pre-vetting process that I think would potentially change the way service industry is done, in terms of just all these separate manufacturing service providers can now streamline, in a sense, to kind of unify over one specific token that would allow each party to know, hey, what state is this design or file in? And it's all based on that token and the blockchain. Another advantage I see with NFTs is venture studios. Venture studios are popping up now, where they're creating ideas and things like that and getting funding. Hatch-Duo has always had these really unique venture ideas, but obviously we don't always have the time to go seek capital or go raise capital, because we're more of a service design firm, right? But now you could potentially shelve some of these ideas. Like, for instance, if you take our juicer or our Optimum bot and you look at wow, that's such a cool venture idea, or this boba robotics project that we did for fun, and we tokenize it and we can shelve it, and maybe eventually we could sell it to a group that would want to actually drive that venture. So perhaps venture studios could use blockchain technology as a way to mint ideas.
So John talked about how NFTs can possibly play a role in the design process, but how about the ME side of what we do? Additionally, how can blockchain technology and NFTs affect supply chain? Being that NFTs allow participants to access certain records on a ledger, the same can be done for asset tracking. So if you, in your hardware assembly, you're sourcing components, you're able to track everything in real time, where it's coming from, down to the temperature that your shipment is in the container. So things of that nature. As it relates to product development, I think with NFTs, you can hold the token, and that token will, let's say, for example, we have a set of CAD data or CAD files in an assembly that's stored on a ledger. The person who owns or has that NFT will be able to access those files. So this, prevents unauthorized access, ensures authenticity, and it prevents any unwanted tampering of those files or modifications, for that matter. So if you have a set of files that are released for production, and the set of files that you want your contract manufacturer to follow and to receive, they'll be able to access those files, not a down rev or an up rev. So this also would help with file management, revision changes, and so forth.
So we definitely see a bridge forming between the physical and digital world that we're becoming, and we look forward to experimenting with some of that space in VR, like our metaverse space, obviously. But more so, we're really interested in experimenting and finding innovative ways to experiment with the utility of the NFTs that we're creating. We're really excited about our first collection that we're doing right now. We collaborated with our other business, Aggregate Watches, to create our own collection of NFTs. And we are also working on some Hatch-Duo NFTs that maybe utility-wise will provide special access to office hours for Hatch-Duo. Obviously, we don't know all the answers, but we are designers and we love to explore different ideas in this new evolving world.
If you or someone you know is interested in minting NFTs, or you'd like to see our Meta Studio, get in touch with us. Links are in the description box below. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be alerted when we drop a new video. See you guys next time.